Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Well, it's actually good morning, 11 o'clock Eastern. Welcome to TradeGate Hub TGH. Okay, it's Friday. If you know anything about what I've done in the past videos or anything, it's the worst day of the week. Self-explanatory. Okay. It's what happened was the non-farm payroll day. You can see in the back of my screen, this is my general universe here. I would say the top, this portion, 3/4 of the left of the screen is my general universe. The bottom right are stocks that are hot. IHT and RHE are no exception. Etsy, Square, Roku, Piton, Carvana, Expedia, MP, Revolve Group. All had earnings. Nordstrom takeover rumors, Laser, a couple of long-term plays here. That's my general screen. So I'm giving this because I post it every morning. And what we want to do is I usually start posting early Eastern, and I want everybody to get into a routine. So by the time 9:30 Eastern comes around, like I said, like I always use the analogy of LeBron James or Tiger Woods. You know, we've already hit our chip shots and already made our layups. And by the time 9:30 rolls around, you know, we're ready to take the drive around and hit a 350 or hit a three-pointer to win the game. And it's not a cheesy cliche. It's how I feel. And after doing it for almost a quarter century, I should feel that way. And it's only what I'm hoping to convey and pass on to everybody here. One trade at a time. Okay. Good morning. As always, a list of yesterday's movers. Here are the relative volume. So we had Twilo, which was down $31 on 400% volume. Ring Central, a little bit thin, only 2 million shares traded. Etsy, a stock actually I concentrated and traded long. I got lucky. I'll talk about that another time. Still, it traded 500% of its normal volume. Stock had a 20% range. You have to be in it. Roku, the same thing. Had earnings today. So that was one we should stay away from. Carvana had earnings today. That's one we stay away from, but it had range and it had volume, and it finished close to the high when it was down $17. So keep aware of this. This is important. I posted, these are proprietary queries that I get that I try to post in the mornings. As we get more intense into trading, I'll post them more often. I'm really starting to walk before we're going to run, just to get down to the basics, not to be redundant, but the basics are the most important, or else you can't execute at a high level. Net had earnings, Redfin, Bill. Here were the winners yesterday. Wayfair, 4 million shares on 300% of volume. HomeAway, 10 times its normal volume on 12 million shares, had a $6 range. And here are the big poppers yesterday. Some of them have low volume. I put the float down for a reason, and I put the volume for the last 30 minutes for a reason, because you definitely don't want to get stuck on the thin side of a move. You'll wind up paying up, and then you're going to be stuck in it, and then you have to work out of the stock. And, you know, working out of the stock used to be fun, but these days it's not. I mean, you're working not against humans, you're also working against algos that are a little bit smarter sometimes. Okay, we started the day, obviously on the hot side, but tactical sentiment, even after yesterday's rally, remained neutral. So it's generally stock picking. And going back to the screen today, when it's stock picking, usually we have up and down sectors like we do today. The banks are weak, or the banks are taking a breather. The Dow stocks, General Motors, Home Depot taking a breather. Crude took the breather a little bit. Walmart, naturally, it's a good gauge, took a breather. And technology, with the employment number, interest rates, definitely helped the tech stock bounce. So I just covered some RCL on the bottom there. That's good. I digress. Tactical sentiment remains stock picking. So right now the futures are up 32 handles on the higher end of the range. So I would probably say that the sentiment right now is somewhat near the red, which means we're a little bit short-term overbought. Doesn't mean we're calling for a top or a reversal. It might mean you want to lighten up on some of the longs that you came in with today, or if not, maybe, well, I'm not going to say average down, maybe initiate a short as a hedge. So we're probably in the red right now as we sit at 11 o'clock Eastern. Here's hedge funds exposure. Sold a little bit on the dip yesterday. I'm sorry, sold a little bit on the rally yesterday, but the hedge funds still remained underfunded. Retail is what kind of disappeared, but now the hedge funds are a little bit underfunded. As you can see, it kind of correlates. Anytime there's a dip here, it correlates to a nice move in the market, the dip here and then move up in the market. So once again, you like to see it stay, somewhat neutral. It's definitely not anywhere in the when everybody's all in the pool where you're going to get nervous, but definitely just much like stock picking, it's in the middle. It's indecisive. Here we came in with the sectors that are oversold and overbought. Okay. With the non-farm payroll, this relative strength of this general sectors come into play. Financials came in the hottest, the most overbought. Let's keep that in mind. There's not one over here that's above the red. So keep in mind the fins are overbought. We come in what? Energy a tad overbought, but in a great uptrend. So I definitely wouldn't look looking to be short a pop. I would be looking to buy in a dip. Buying a dip on energy because it's in an uptrend actually worked this morning. EOG. Strong stock. Once it broke through, listen, it's the strongest stock on the board. Let's go to a 2-year high. EOG, by the way, is considered the best of breed for an oil stock. I didn't make that up. It's obviously evident in the chart, but also it's good for trading. Stock opened down this morning. Actually, it opened unchanged. So EOG, for example, right when it hit a 78.80 year high, 78.18 is the previous year high. If you're alert, not fear of missing out, but if you're alert, here is 78.18 right here. And you put a little buy stop, you have confirmation when it back and fills, and it goes to 82. You have to be aware of that trade. Getting back to TGH. Okay, so you know that I'm saying that energy is in a bull trend. That's why it's a little bit overbought. So when it pulled back this morning, it was a good buy. But when we go to the financials, let's look at another example. They were taken down by the number this morning. Citibank. First of all, keep in mind, I mean, it's above every moving average. It's more of a long than a short. But when it comes in hot like that, I mean, Citibank opened at 73. It went right at, what is this? 73.25, right to 75 without a commercial. That's what happened when algos buy strong stocks on dips. What it's going to do now, I'm not really sure. The hard money's been made. Anybody that's short financials is probably going to be wanting to cover on any dip, and that's going to put a lot of buying pressure on it as well. Let's get going. Retail in the middle of the range, utilities, technology. Both the semis and the techs were oversold. So the sector sentiment, as I wrote this morning, I wrote that at like 6, 7 in the morning, were overbought. Fast, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, the miners, FCX, by the way. One day does not make a reversal on FCX. I actually tried to short it a little bit right here. Just a little bit as a feeler. But a stock like FCX, even if it's overbought, making year highs with this type of chart, the RSI is not even overbought right now. So maybe I wasted my time right there with the FCX trade. That's a hard money trade. I don't know. It was kind of a hedge too. I thought they were going to reverse, but they didn't. And I got out of it right away and I moved on. All right. So the semis, as I said, MU, Marvel, Sticks, Western Digital, Texan looks good. Tech have room to bounce. They bounce. I quoted something about Jim Cramer liking PayPal, Square had earnings. PayPal, I don't really like the trade. Maybe if it dipped and then you bought it right through the open at this 255 here, you made $3. That's a hard trade on that type of stock. And Square off the open, Square for a stock that had earnings. The Square for that type of magnitude of a stock, it's a bellwether, no doubt. Square right here is in no man's land, even with earnings. So that's yet to be determined. This is a stock that you're going to have to watch. I mean, for this type of stock to have a $4 range on an earnings day into a non-farm payroll number is dormant. And you know what? That's going to be a day or two delay. The next move is going to be a big move. So you have to watch out for them. I don't know which way it's going to go yet, but definitely whatever side it is, we're going to be on it. Okay. Pre-market movers. Okay. Now, aside from the stocks that I showed you this morning that were active and had range, I mean, they were huge. So you can't catch everything. And what I learned is that when so many stocks are moving this way, the bigger money is made taking fewer positions on bigger shares instead of spreading out thin. If you have 20 positions and some of them are working your way and some of them not, trader mentality, which is wrong, is usually to get out of the losers, get out of the winners and sell some of the losers. So when you have 20 positions and if you sell some of the losers, sell some of the winners, the losers usually get worse. So what I learned, and listen, I was told this way, fewer positions on bigger shares. So fear of missing out is prevalent now, but you have to stay focused. So this was the morning movers. AUPH had news that was a takeover rumor. I'm going to write that down right on my pad here, because AUPH is a stock that I definitely want to talk about. It showed relative weakness. Okay, this was at 8 o'clock in the morning, if you will. Roku, which, by the way, now it was down 11 yesterday. It was up 22. Not that heavy volume, but it did. DDOG, Net, Tilray, these were all cloud stocks. Piton had earnings. Also a couple of payment stocks that acted poorly. Frog's a hot IPO that acted poorly. STNE, the Brazilian paymaker, which is the Brazilian Square. Beyond Meat, CLNE. I mean, these are good stocks. Let me talk about AUPH. So let me finish up with the room first for AUPH. Always on the right here, we have the news coming out. I said, Wayfair upgraded the guy. Good morning, traders. Thank you, sir. Somebody asked me about some ETFs. There's the ETF screener, ETF something.com. What is this? ETF.com, punching it, whatever in you want. It's great, especially these days. It'll show you the thickest ETFs, which weighted in the ETFs. I always look at it because, you know, if the ESE minis move or the S&P moves, I want to know what stocks are in it that move the most. We'll show you relative weakness and relative strength. Price targets. I put all the price targets every day. IHT was something we alerted this morning. I was on this a little early. 380 IHT went to 518. IHT for those active day traders. Stock you got to be in. So far, it's holding above the previous double top, or if you can call a thin stock like this a double top. It's 407. You know, it holds the 407. You got to be in it again, or try to be in it. I wouldn't get fancy, but these moves down here, these spikes down are to get longs out. They're not short covering. So you want the stock to hold above 485, but it's high. Let's go to a weekly. Let's go to a monthly. So we definitely don't want to be paying up. So it has it in it. It's had $6 in it before, going back to 1997. I didn't know this company was even public for that long. So tune into TGH and we're going to how to handle this later. IHT alerted. Okay. Great to hear from you too. Gap up stocks. All right, let's go to AUPH. Okay. First of all, let me punch up the news on AUPH, because this is an important trade. This is a perfect example of relative strength and relative weakness. And by the way, not to be stubborn. AUPH yesterday came out with a rumor. Merger talks in UK newspapers, a good one, that related tickers that AUPH, the following stocks were cited in bid speculation, Aurora Pharmaceuticals. Okay. So I follow the company because I've been long it a couple of times. So let's look at AUPH. First of all, the stock has had nothing because I thought it was a break. It was a takeover candidate earlier in the year. This is important. Okay. No bid, nothing happened. Labor has been weak. And this has not helped AUPH. Sorry, I was getting a message. This hasn't helped the AUPH cause either. Okay. So now I know the stock. So I'm saying, okay, AUPH has something at this takeover rumors. So 2 days ago, let's go to 2 days ago, even the after hours. So AUPH on the takeover speculation at the very most showed $14. Even short covering alone on AUPH should have taken this thing even above to, well, it stopped at the 200 day, by the way, in the after hours for those technical traders. But then I saw in the pre-market, it only got to 14. And when a stock, even with that high short interest of a decent takeover rumor happens, and it goes the other way. This is yesterday. It was 13.24. Remember, it was 14 in the pre-market, and it winds up closing AUPH below the previous day when it was weak on takeover speculation. And today, it opens up. It opens actually down. It closed at 12.25. It opened at 10.44. I had a lot of this yesterday. I think I had 24,000 or 28,000 shares, and I sold it right away. I said, something's up here. I let my ego, by the way, get in the way, and I certainly didn't let the price action dictate what I wanted to do with the stock I got out of. I saved myself a good trade. You know what? Even down here on the takeover speculation alone, I would not be an AUPH. That was a good stock I wanted to talk about. Okay, same thing happened today with, okay, when I cited SPWR the other day, when that was the one that reversed down, when Run reported 2 days ago, same thing happened yesterday to BE. Did the same thing as SPWR, and you had to be aware of in the same group. BE at earnings, Blooming Energy. Let's go 2 days ago. Stock closed at 22. Blooming Energy, just like SPWR did, that they dipped to 1990, reversed. Once it went positive on the day right here, or once it broke the open, it was worth taking a stab. Definitely once it went positive. I actually carried this through overnight. This was a good trade, BE. And you know what? Stocks in these sectors tend to act a similar way for a couple of days. They stay hot. They're what we call resumption trades. So those are a couple of trades I wanted to go forward. Okay, so it's a Friday afternoon. The market, the spies, I guess you could say they tried to sell off, they couldn't. Now we're breaking new year highs again, and something I want to get control of. The rotation, if you will, I don't know how prevalent it will be. If the rotation out of weak stocks or the cyclicals or the value stocks like Citibank or Freeport-McMoRan or Alcoa were really weak, or the market was they wanted to rotate, they'd be down. So I think the market's strong overall. You know, maybe everybody takes profits into the weekend. I wouldn't doubt it. So maybe want to buy some into the close. As I said, you know, tune into TGH. We're going to let you know what we're doing. But until then, stay with, trade the stocks with good price action, volume and range. Stay with the trend and have your plan, and you're going to be a winning trader. Have a good weekend.